Welcome to part 2 of Are You Continually Learning? In the last episode, Spencer and Cameron discussed the fact that you don't know everything, and you should always be looking for learning opportunities. Join them in this episode where they continue that discussion.
Too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
Man, everybody listen to this podcast. If you're trying to get better at business, learn from other businesses' failures and successes. It is really, really interesting. You find a lot of common themes when you learn that kind of stuff. I think one of the things I love about my job is I get to talk to tons of individuals across different industries, and more importantly, different companies across all sorts of spectrums. And you learn so much. You learn so much from those people. And it's just invaluable, the things you learn and know. And you find out there's always more than one way to usually dice the apple, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
oh, for sure.
Yeah, but sorry, we digress.
No, it's true though. Like, you know, and you learn from people that have had experience. You know, find people that you want to be like and had experiences you want to have, and learn from those kind of people too. You know, there's a lot of people that are willing to give you free advice from things they've never accomplished.
Yes,
I learned that as I was starting up my company. I was like, well, yeah, that's good advice, but have you ever been in that situation? Because what I'm going through is pretty stressful. Yeah. So yeah, it's so true though. Like pick who you want to be like as a mentor. Like I have two mentors I really just look up to, and I take their advice. Like I just drink it up.
Yeah.
And the rest, you know, I still appreciate good advice when it's given, but you find yourself good mentors. You know, that's walk the path that you want to walk. So, and
that's a really good advice. Finding mentors that are very concentric to what you're looking to do, you know, very focused on what you're looking to do, because there's always that person that I think it's a really true phrase, the armchair quarterback. Why aren't you doing this? I mean, well, whoa. What exactly do you do for a living? Oh, you push buttons on a computer in a factory, and you're going to tell me how to start up a company?
Yeah, go ahead. Right? Yeah.
Nothing against
you're right.
Those groups, but there's some relativity to like relationship wise of like how close you are to similar situations. And it's very interesting to me that your circle of friends oftentimes starts to become people you have stuff in common with, right?
Yeah, it's so true.
I mean, you're an entrepreneur. So I imagine most of your friends are entrepreneurs too.
Yeah, many of them are. You know, I had one individual came up to me. They're just talking about things that they don't fully understand. And during the coronavirus, so we're still in it, but like during the heart of it, when restaurants were shut down, that individual came and said, why aren't these restaurants, while they're closed down, reinvest in their businesses? Why don't they put some paint on the walls, recover some stuff, you know, put some new flooring in? I'm like, because it takes money. And they're not getting any money right now. I'm like, so it's just stuff like that they don't see the forest from the trees. You know, they think they can backseat quarterback, and you're like, you don't understand it. Like if they don't have revenue coming in, how are they have other places for their little bit of money they have to go. They're not going to waste it on improvements when they're trying to keep their employees fed, you know, and their doors slightly open. So it's just interesting what people see and what they view and how they view it. It's just interesting. So,
yeah, it's. I think I received some advice good in my life early in my career path was from a manager, and he was a phenomenal salesman, like just phenomenal, and he understood things very, very well in that regard. And one thing that he said, and I believe he phrased it as, "People's opinions is their reality," right?
Yeah.
Where you're looking from, like so to speak, is kind of how you see the world. And that, you know, you have to either, when you're selling to people, you have to understand how to sell to what their reality is. But at the same time, the inverse of that is you may think that's reality, but it could be something completely else. You know, and yeah, a little bit of humility and a little bit of willingness to learn is really vital.
Oh,
yeah,
you can't say that enough.
Yeah,
you can't say that enough.
It's okay to have confidence because people are like, well, I'm just really confident. And I remember another thing from what guy, he said, confidence attracts people to you, arrogance repels. You know, if you get to that point, you got to check yourself, I guess. Anyway, we digress.
Exactly. Well, I like it. Well, let's move into the lightning round.
Oh,
just from our conversation was really good because it covered everything else I wanted to cover. So that's perfect. But our lightning round today is sponsored by Sensations Tanning and Health Spa. These guys, if you want to get your tan on, you know, I'm actually one of the lucky ones. I'm going to try to go to Mexico this upcoming week. I don't want to look transparent when I'm there. So I'm going to try to maybe get a few tans in, maybe a spray tan, maybe even massage. I don't know. That's the place to go, guys. Go check out Sensations. And I know we have a deal coming up here soon. So keep listening, but give them a call and get yourself scheduled there. Okay, Cameron, what is one of your favorite best books or / tool or software that you've just been raving about lately?
With the digital, you know, everybody connecting now via programs like Zoom and stuff. I've used Zoom. I've used Google Chat, Google Talk, a myriad of them. And then there's even others I've used before in my life. I will tell you the one that I am liking the most is the Microsoft Teams as of late. I'm really liking it. It's great for our company and the way we communicate. It goes across all platforms. So for me, like the phone to the laptop to the computer, you know, my computer, whatever, laptop, same thing, right? But it is a phenomenal product, and I feel like it's made communication with everybody in my organization, and I can even use it to communicate with clients and share information and share screens. It is. I've been really impressed with that piece of technology that has come out, and it's very rare that I think people go, Microsoft has the best stuff, right? I mean, so often people just avoid using Microsoft, but this Microsoft Teams product, I don't know who they probably bought it off of to put into their stuff, but man, it is great. Book-wise, man, there's a lot of books you can read. I think
what's one of your favorites?
I think one that really is sticking with me right now is Turn the Ship Around.
Okay.
For some reason, the author's name escapes me. I think it's Dave Arquette or something like that, but it's a great book about trusting and empowering your employees and how that can become a better work environment faster, like things can happen faster in your company, and just a lot of good things. It has a military basis to it, so I love that kind of stuff. One of the other ones that I really like that has stuck with me the longest is by Patrick Henry Hansen, and it's called Sales Side Negotiation. And he uses some great tactics and ways to negotiate with people. He helps you identify types of negotiators. And one of my favorite things that he uses in that is history lessons. All of his books have interwoven history to help provide evidence of how to use those kinds of techniques. And he's got some with how you present sales. He's got some on how you prospect for clients. And it can really be applicable to a lot of small business people. A lot of it's sales side based, but it really can be very applicable. And those have stuck with me for, man, his has been over a decade now. So
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, moving on. I like those picks. So Microsoft's and some good books there. So what's one of the biggest myths that people need to know about bankers and banking?
I just presented to a class at Idaho State this last week, and one thing that was brought up was that bankers know everything, right? If you're dealing with a banker that thinks he knows everything, he may not be the right banker for you. Your banker, the myth is that bankers know everything, and the second myth about that is you don't want an arrogant banker, right? I mean, I remember listening to one of your very first podcasts of how one of your small businesses that now is very successful here in town, everybody told her not to do it, including her bankers, her attorneys, her CPAs. And, I think that's one of the biggest myths. One of the other biggest myths is that bankers are filthy rich. I don't think we're filthy rich. Maybe someone somewhere in banking is, and that we have access to all the money in the vault. That's the other thing that just people are like, what's it like going in the vault, just rolling around in all that money? Like, what have you been watching? That is not reality.
This isn't Scrooge McDuck over here, man.
Yeah. And I think that's another good point. People think there are millions and billions of dollars in those bank vaults, and there is not. If anything, banks now more than ever try to minimize how much cash is in their facilities, because that indicates money that's not in the system working for it.
Sure. That makes sense. All right. I like it. I like those myths.
Yeah.
For business owners, people in startups and stuff like that, what would be the myths that you would say for those ones, I guess? Because I know that this is a business podcast. People are looking for startups, looking for that kind of stuff. What's available to these people? Because I know it's tough when no financial background in business and you're trying to start something up. What's available?
There's a lot of resources made through a lot of different areas. There are regional development companies that simply exist to help fund companies starting up. We have like Samantha Dameron with the I forget the name of her groups, SBDG or something like that, but they help fund companies that may not qualify for standard financing. There's groups at local universities. Our bank is one of the few banks that also has a small business resource center, but look for those small business resource centers. One of the great things in those is that they will help you put together a complete packet and walk through a business plan of when you go into a bank. Right? A going concern company is different to a bank than a startup. And those resources, those going through those steps are huge. So often people have an idea is like, this is my idea. And when you bring it to the banker, remember, you got to get this banker into the program of like understanding what's going on in your company, because you just have to explain it to him. He has to explain it to others to get approvals half the time and to help develop it and understand where the company's going. That is really, really key, knowing those details and having a small business resource center. A lot of your universities have them, states have them, some businesses have them like we do. Those are great resources in helping you go through all the details and eliminating frustration on your part. So having had companies come in that were startups and I have to go through that process with them, it's okay, here's the question. Okay, get the answer. And there's a lot of this going back and forth between you and processors and underwriters and decisioners that just creates a miserable experience for clients. And because in the business world, every business is so very different, right? What works for you may not work for someone else. And there's risk with different companies. And getting your ducks in the row beforehand is work. And I think that's something that people say it's easy. I think it takes work to get a business up and going, having some side gigs myself, and more importantly, having seen my clients, right? You had to sacrifice to create your company. It didn't just happen overnight. Things happened overnight, but the success that you have now didn't. It took time and sacrifice. And I think all the podcasts I've listened to in years, there's always some sort of sacrifice, education, investment that has gone in, and people just have to understand that. Now, with that being put out there, don't be afraid to do it. There's small business opportunity. There's federal resources. There's localized resources. There's a lot of stuff. And there's so much of it that I learn more about every day that it's hard to put into just a couple second conversation or even a couple minute. And I encourage everybody that's thinking about starting a company, work on it. work on it, work for it, go for it, do it. We need more small businesses in this country than we've ever need. The mega companies, I'm not a big fan of mega companies, and I truly believe that our country is not enforcing antitrust laws, and I want to help any small business I can. Even if I'm not the banker to do it for you, I'm willing to talk to you and help you.
Sure.
So for small companies out there, just don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to talk to more than one person. You may go to one place and they're going to say no, but go somewhere else and they're going to say yes.
Yep. I agree. Yeah. Not all banks are all alike. So perfect. Well, thank you, Cameron. Is there anything I should have asked that I did not?
One other thing I think I would want to talk about, because I'm hoping that this catches the ear of a lot of entrepreneurs that are wanting to start companies and go forward.
Okay.
I cannot emphasize enough how often bad personal credit keeps a good person and good ideas from happening. That may seem mean or disheartening, but I have seen clients and individuals with good ideas and good things go from institution to institution getting the same answer because that personal credit is a risk. And so the only thing I can say is when you're a small company and it's heavily concentrated ownership, meaning you've got 20% or more, your personal credit more than often is going to come into play. And go download some free tools. There's an app from Experian. There's a Credit Karma app, and they will help you just see what's going on. And that is more than often hang-ups that affect how expensive it is to borrow, whether you get to borrow, and more importantly, people understand the least about it. And I would just advise everybody to do that. Every single person I talk to, when they come in my office, I ask them right off the bat, if they don't have those, to download them before we even get going. So I know where we're sitting at. That is so huge in the financial industry of indicating risk. And banks are all about risk. That's all we do all day long is deal with risk, whether people are going to pay us back or not. And that's probably the one thing I would just throw out there, because I want to help people, and that's going to help you a lot in life.
Well, perfect. Perfect, Cameron. That's some good advice. And I appreciate you coming on the show today and spelling some of that out for us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for having Idaho represented so strong, Spence. I really appreciate it.
Cool. Well, everyone else that's listening, if they're interested in talking with Cameron or, sitting down with him, Cameron, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I'm going to throw it out there. My cell phone number is 208-406-6456. And that number again, for all of those with a pen and pad, is 208-406-6456. You can text me, you can call me. I may not have all the answers, but I love what I do. So I deal with clients all hours of the day. And thank goodness I have a bank that allows me to do that.
Very cool. All right, everyone. Well, keep listening, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Share these episodes to people that you think could use them. And we just thank you all for continuing to make this a successful podcast. And keep listening. Until next time, everyone. Thanks for listening to the Idaho Business Podcast.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.